What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down something with Tesla SPY in the overall markets. I'm also going to break down some big news that came out involving Tesla, not to mention the economic calendar with FOMC coming out for today. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. Not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. This offer ends in just 12 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with Tesla. So, looking at Tesla's thing is in a range right now. We're trying to push up this resistance at this 230 area. We're doing a good job at holding up. So far, so good, at least for the share price. Now, the question is, what's happening with the news? So, I just wanted to say there's some big news that came out. GM is releasing its approved NACS charger adapter and it's giving its drivers access to Tesla's charging network. So that's great news, at least in my opinion. As Tesla goes on, I just want to note that more and more companies are going to be adopting their NACS standard. And the good thing about this is that this will bring a lot more revenue in for Tesla, and more brands are continuing to follow this trend. So GM was one of the first to transition to the new plug, but they have new products coming out that are going to be incorporated with Tesla's plugs. And I think that it's just a great piece of news as well. So that's very, very cool. We're waiting to see what else happens with this over time. And on top of this, with their new plug, it's going to give more Americans access to these adapters, and then it's going to allow them to charge a lot quicker as well. So, very, very cool stuff, in my opinion. It's also worth noting that this is approved and it's going on sale right now through many different apps. So, it's a good piece of news and it's going to allow the customers access to nearly 232,000 public chargers, including 17,800 of Tesla's superchargers. So great news. On top of this, I want to talk about something else. There's a Tesla Semi that went over 250,000 miles, and very, very cool stuff in my opinion. Tesla's also aiming to reach a capacity of about, I think it was like 60,000, about 50,000 units basically by 2026, which is going to disrupt the industry. And Tesla's arguing that this could compete with these diesel powered trucks. So I think that as time goes on, this is going to be very convincing. As crazy as that may sound, the Tesla Semi is going to become a big hit as time goes on, in my opinion. And I think that with their capabilities and what it's able to do with futuristic technology, its ability to continue to do what it has to do quickly, and it and many many instances are showing that they could be just as efficient as diesel powered trucks. So I think that, yes, I think it's a very, very cool piece of news, and I can't wait to see Tesla produce a lot more of these. Anyways, that's it for Tesla's news. Let's talk about today. It's September 18th, Wednesday, 2024. We basically just got some building permit status, all very minor. Same thing with housing starts. Everything else is very minor coming out for today. And then what happens is we have the interest rate hike decision coming out. It's going to be at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If they give us 25 basis points, the market will react, maybe not in the best of ways. And then at that point, it's going to depend a lot on what Jerome Powell has to say at 2:30 p.m. during the conference. And then if they give us 50 basis points for the cuts, then the market could see a very, very interesting amount of volatility as well. It also depends on what they give us for the projections. So make sure you watch this as well very carefully. I'll give you guys reports on this when the data starts to come out. So Jerome Powell's giving his speech. They're going to be announcing what they're doing with rates. And just know that right now the market thinks there's a 63% chance we get a 50 basis point cut and about a 37% chance we get 25 basis points. Anyways, that's it for my information. Now let's just focus on the charts for the next 5 minutes. So as far as Tesla goes, we're going to be looking at this resistance at 230 today. I do think what's going to happen is Tesla attempts to get up here. 230 to 232 is going to be a tough area of resistance. Might push a little bit higher than make our move back down, just continue to consolidate. And I don't expect much for the markets for the first 30 minutes. I think we're just going to consolidate in this range. Not 30 minutes, sorry, the first couple of hours approaching FOMC. So look for a little bit of a push upon open, a dip back down, just lots of sideways price action in the range. And then FOMC, when the Fed gives us their decision, we're going to be looking for the reaction. I don't personally know exactly what it's going to be depending on what the Fed does, so be ready for that. As far as SPY goes, I think that this morning SPY could push a little bit higher and try to retest just under 565. But just like yesterday, it was very choppy up here. So I think we're going to push up here, start chopping around again between 563 and 565, and continue to go back and forth near all-time highs. And then Jerome Powell and the Fed will either cause us to pump really hard or dump. So we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, we're looking at 565 as our resistance and 566. And if we lose 563, we're looking for 562. That's going to be our 50 EMA. So I think we're just going to go back and forth, and we'll see how things end up going. For Nvda is also range bound. We're looking at 116 as our resistance, and our support is currently at 114.94. So I think what's going to happen to Nvidia is we continue to shuffle. There is an inverse head and shoulders setup that could be forming, but nothing's guaranteed. And I just want to call out that one thing that's worth mentioning is that we're just range bound. So I think we're just going to try to push a little higher back up to this imbalance towards 117. We dip a little bit, just continue to trade sideways for now. So it's not going to be that fun to trade. But then once FOMC starts, we'll see if Jerome Powell and the Fed launch this higher into the 120s to start filling its gap. If 120 breaks, we turn bullish. And if we lose 113, we could turn back to bearish. We're just in the middle. So expect some chop, and then we'll see what happens later on. For Bitcoin's also doing something very similar to Nvidia. We're just kind of like range bound. We're looking at 59,600 as support and 60,500 as resistance. We've been going back and forth in this range. So I presume we're just going to continue to trade sideways for Bitcoin, and we'll see what happens moving forward. So be very, very patient with this. For others out there, such as NQ has more upside potential, but it has this big gap below, so you want to be a little bit more careful. I think this morning it's going to try to push a little higher to 19,800, come back down and start this consolidation phase. And then we could be looking for a push if 19,800 breaks to 20,000. And if we end up losing 19,640, we could be dipping back down to fill the gap at 19,400. So those are your levels. I presume it's going to be trying to push a little higher in the morning, then consolidate. Look for a lot of sideways price action until we get to FOMC, until the decision comes out. With the QQQ, we're holding support very nicely. However, I would say to be kind of careful with this. We have basically 475 as our resistance. We could be pushing up here. If that breaks, we're looking for 478 or higher. And if we end up losing 473, we could be dipping. I think we're just going to push a little bit higher, then consolidate for some time. Then we'll see what happens moving forward. Could this be kind of like a head and shoulders that's forming? We'll see about that. But expect it to push up higher and then consolidate for some time. And then we will see what the Fed causes. Apple looks like it wants to rebound a little bit after how much it dipped yesterday. So look for a test of 217.75. If that breaks, we could be going all the way up towards 219. If this rejects, we could be dipping. So look for a little bit of upside, some consolidation, a little bit over 217. Then we'll see how things go, at least from there. For the IWM, if we end up losing 219, we could be dipping back down to 217. If we break 220, we're looking for a push. I think what's going to happen to the IWM is we just trade sideways as well. We're testing previous support, which was previous resistance becoming support at this 218 area. We could dip down here, push back up to 220, just consolidate for some time, and we'll see what Jerome Powell and the Fed cause. That's going to be the big market moving event. Amazon looks a little bit more bullish. I might try to push up for 189, maybe get very close to 190, then come back down and continue to consolidate. We're waiting for that until we get the Fed decision. Meta looks a little bit more bullish. I think it could be pushed for 540, then come back down and consolidate as well. And then we will see what the Fed gives us. Microsoft looks so right now. I think it might try to get up to about 440, then come back down and then consolidate. But if we were to lose 432, look for a dip. I think it's just stuck in the middle, kind of range bound right now. So that's all I'm really seeing. For Google, we look a little bit more bullish. If we could hold above 160, if 160 holds, we're going to be looking for a push back up towards 163. And if we lose 160, we could be dipping. So I think what's going to happen is we push higher. We continue to push a little bit higher from here on Google to like 162. Then we'll see some consolidation up there. But it looks a little bit more bullish than other stocks out there. So with that being said, as far as Tesla goes, I think we could push a little bit upon open. We could get very close to that resistance at 230 and 232. To be bullish, you want to break 235, but I don't think we're going to break that yet. I think for now, we're just going to be range bound, approaching the Fed. And then the real move is going to come once the Fed announces their decision of what they're doing to interest rates. This time it's going to be a big move, guys, because this may be the first. This is going to be the first time the Fed cuts. So this is going to be huge. I can't wait to see what this leads to. So get ready for some high volatility. The volatility really starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have a couple of hours. Until then, I thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys very soon in the next one, and peace out.